So my objective this afternoon is to check the alignment on the Commander. I'm not specifically concerned that there's a problem, but I know I do a lot of street driving with this thing, and I certainly want the tires to last as long as possible. There are many different ways that you can actually check the alignment. I've seen a couple of videos on YouTube showing things. We put up a string, you use a tape measure, and those are all great and fine. I just so happen to have access to a $30,000 alignment machine, so I'm certainly going to use that. I also know that people are going to say, "Oh, well, you're not on an alignment rack, and you don't have this, you don't have that." I know. This is just on the floor of my garage, so it's nothing fancy, it's nothing sophisticated. But I do think the alignment machine is going to give me more accurate numbers on the floor than my eyeball would be with a tape measure. So I'm going to hook up the Commander. We'll see what we've got. So I've got the numbers or some of the details in the system. The computer's asking me for an OEM spec to compare it to. Well, Can-Am, as a UTV, is not in a passenger car database. So I thought about trying this. I'm gonna put this down as, let's say it's a G, maybe like a CJ7. I don't know, just put it in there. Call it an early 80s, just for comparison numbers. So it's gonna ask me to do a caster sweep. Again, I know we're just on concrete, it's not gonna be perfect, but I wanna show the numbers. I wanted to illustrate the example that I've got here. I ended up changing the vehicle. I put this as a Chevy Silverado because I know it has a similar tie rod end on it, to just give the example or give the photo of what adjustment needs to be made. In order to adjust the toe on a suspension like the Commander has, you're going to do that with the tie rod ends. You release the jam nut, you move the tie rod end in or out, and put the jam nut back down. One thing I'd caution is remove the clamp for the boot. You don't want to twist the boot up. All right, I am spent. I've been up and down on the ground enough, turning wrenches, making adjustments, jouncing the vehicle. I will admit, if I had a rack with turn plates and slip plates, I'm sure this process would have been significantly easier, but we work with what we've got. I don't remember the numbers now, but I know the Commander was significantly towed in when I started the process, and right now I've got it sitting at about 0.05 of a degree towed in with my fat butt in the driver's seat. So I know things may change depending on who's with me and that sort of stuff, but I want to see if there's any performance difference. You know, from a degree or two, whatever it was, negatively towed to getting a lot closer to zero. I want to see how it drives, how it performs. If nothing else, I think the tires are going to at least last longer with all of the on-road driving that I'm doing with this thing right now. So we'll see. To follow up, I did pull the owner's manual. In the back of the book, it gives an alignment spec. As you can see from the top image, it is calling for 0 degrees total toe, with a plus or minus of 0.2 of a degree in either direction. You can see in the bottom image, mine was coming back 1.64 degrees negatively towed, which is well beyond what OE spec calls for. I'm sure the performance was affected, but I'm more concerned about the tire life, the tire longevity. Now that this thing's been adjusted, I'm sure it'll perform much better.